You know, every time we come to Japan, it's always a wonderful experience for, you know, the crew, the team, the UFC team, as well as all the fighters and guest fighters. I mean, this is just really a hotbed of MMA. It's one of the original birthplaces of MMA. The fans are really sophisticated. They know the fighters. They know kind of their records and where their strengths are and everything else. I think the other thing for us is that we have such a youthful group of talent right now with, you know, Ulko Sasaki and Inoue and some of the other fighters that we have. I mean, we're really seeing a changing of the guard. And the skill sets that they have, I mean, you've watched their previous fights, you know, it's really encouraging for us. I think that that the fans are in for a really big treat. Sure, I mean, our matchmakers do a great job of canvassing the entire area. The benefit of somewhere like Japan is that it has such a tradition. It's so steeped in MMA, you know, talent and history at the end of the day. So, you know, it's not hard for our matchmakers to identify talent that comes out of this region, and they basically just talk to every gym, talk to every camp, and make sure that they have a pulse on the entire situation. As for whether or not it's important, it's absolutely critical for us. You know, and again, we're very lucky to have some of the athletes that we do. No, absolutely. And I think, you know, that's one of the things that we're always looking towards as well, to kind of adjust that timing. This time, of course, we are doing the morning show, the FS1 show, and there's several reasons for that. But in the future, we'll certainly consider, you know, changing that timing, and it just depends on what kind of card that we're looking at for you know, to bring an event out here. Absolutely. You know, it's unfortunate that Shogun got injured. It's part of the sport. And oftentimes it is a challenge to find a relevant fighter to kind of step into that place, and so we're really fortunate to have Okami available. You know, he looks ready, and I think it'll be a really exciting fight, and he does have that success that he's already had in the UFC, and yes, he took a little break from the UFC and also had success out there, so, you know, we feel like, you know, it's definitely going to be a competitive bout. Yeah, you know, I think we evaluated for a long time what was the right timing to enter the market. And, you know, this process started, I mean, we've been in China, you know, from a broadcast perspective for the past 8 years. And so it is something that didn't happen overnight. It's something that we gradually built towards. And I think that those are kind of the three pillars of our strategy in most markets is one, media. We have to get our media relationships, and we're fortunate enough to have the best in class with PPTV and Best TV and Ali Sports, some of the biggest names in sports in China, helping us to promote, helping gain that exposure for all of our fan base and grow the fan base in China. So that was the first step, and that takes several years to do. You know, because, you know, when I first started the UFC and developing the sport in China, really there wasn't even an awareness of what MMA was, much less how UFC was at the top of the MMA world as the premier mixed martial arts organization. So that does take time to educate, to tell how exciting this sport is, how international this sport is, and so that's what we did. And you know, 2017 just looked like the absolute right opportunity to bring this, and that's what the feedback from the fans that we're getting right now is, you know, with a tremendous response that we've had. It started from a real loyal and niche following, really. I mean, they did know, but now it's grown into something much, much bigger. So we're really excited about that next step for us. It's a milestone for our company. Yeah, you know, again, we're looking at Asia as a whole. I mean, we're looking at the entire world as a whole, of course, but you know, our team is definitely more focused on Asia. And we had tremendous success in the earlier part of the year in our June event in Singapore. Overwhelming response. You know, we had just a great relationship with the Singapore Tourism Board. The event was very well marketed. The event was, you know, the turnout was fantastic, and the show was great. So that always, you know, is a nice icing on the cake. And I think, you know, for next year, we're looking at certain opportunities. Our schedule is definitely not set yet, but all of that comes into play. And, you know, you look at other parts in Asia as well. I mean, I think most of our events thus far have been in the north, and so, you know, what are some of the other opportunities that lie out there? But we don't have a confirmed schedule yet, so, you know, we won't be able to announce anything like that, but definitely looking at all aspects. Well, I certainly would like to thank all of the support that we've gotten. And again, that growth is just really, our main goal is really need to stay relevant. There's a lot of choices, different choices that our fans can make as far as their time and investment in our brand of entertainment. And so I think that, you know, we'd really like to thank the fans who have been with us and welcome the new fans that are coming in and say, hey, you know, we're definitely here to stay, and you know, you'll see more exciting things coming up in the future.